Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Konoha. I upgraded Sage Mode to Immortal Cultivation Technique. Chapter 21. When Yu and Might Guy arrived at the meeting place, there was another person besides Shiranui Genma. This person is none other than the Jonin of Yohane, Might Guy, and Shiranui Genma, who serves as Akamaiki Dantu. Teacher Tangtong. Yu and Might Guy came to the side of Shiranui Genma and greeted the burly Akamaiki Danto. Yu and Guy are here. Teacher Tangtong, can you tell us about the mission content now? Shiranui Genma had previously asked Akamaiki Dantu about the mission of calling them here. But Akamaiki Dantu did not tell Shiranui Genma this time, but said that he would wait until Yu and Might Guy arrived. Take a look. With that said, Akamaiki Dantu handed the 3 documents to Yu and the others. What? Might Guy curiously took the file. When he saw the top content of the document, he immediately exclaimed, Chunin exam. Teacher Tangtong, what is this? Might Guy vaguely thought of something. He looked at Akamaiki Dantu with ardent eyes and asked with hope. At the same time, Yu and Shiranui Genma, who had read the contents of the document, also focused their attention on Akamaiki Dantu. Yes, this is the recommendation form for the Chunin exam. Akamaiki Dantu said without a smile, and then said the names of the 3 people with a solemn face. Yu, Might Guy, Shiranui Genma, given your performance in previous missions, I have recommended you to take part in this Chunin exam. After getting confirmation from Akamaiki Dantu, Might Guy happily waved his fist and said, Great, Chunin exam, I will definitely be able to become a Chunin. It seemed that Might Guy's happy mood infected everyone, even Shiranui Genma, who had been in a lazy state, had a smile on his face. It's not easy to become a Chunin. There are a lot of geniuses in your class. Akamaiki Dantu narrowed his eyes and said, Kakashi. After hearing Akamaiki Dantu's words, Kakashi's name immediately popped up in the minds of Might Guy and others. If Yu had just traveled through time and heard the conversation between Akamaiki Dantu and Might Guy, he would have been very surprised. Kakashi, didn't he graduate at 5 years old, Chunin at 6 years old, Jonin at 12 years old? What do you mean? Kakashi also wants to take the Chunin exam. This plot doesn't fit. How could Kakashi, who was already a Chunin, take the Chunin exam? But it has been 10 years since Yu traveled through time, and he has been in the same class as Kakashi for many years. He naturally knows why the plot doesn't match up. Because there is a bug in the TV version of Hokage Ninja. Uchiha Obito recalled some things from his youth when he was beaten by Uzumaki Naruto. In Uchiha Obito's memories, he experienced being late for ninja school reports and taking the Chunin exam with Kakashi and Nohara Rin. During the class competition, he was about to release Fire Style, but a piece of candy in his mouth got stuck in his throat, causing Fire Style to fail to release, and he was kicked out by Might Guy. This leads to a bug where Kakashi appears on the Chunin exam even though he is a Chunin. But now, Yu seems to have traveled to a parallel time and space, and the plot will develop as Uchiha Obito recalled. Kakashi will participate in Chunin with Uchiha Obito and Nohara Rin. What? You ask why there is no plot about Kakashi becoming a Chunin at the age of 6. Of course, it's because this kind of plot is too troublesome to develop logically. If Kakashi does not participate in this Chunin exam, there will be one less person in Minato's class. However, the rules of the Chunin exam are 3 people. In order to supplement one person, we have to set up an unfamiliar character that everyone is not familiar with. This is too troublesome. Closer to home, Might Guy thought of Kakashi's genius, and what his father Might Guy said to him, and suddenly he shouted with passion, Kakashi, I will definitely defeat you in the Chunin exam. Guy, do you know what you are talking about? Seeing that Might Guy wanted to defeat Kakashi, the most dazzling genius in the class, Shiranui Genma instinctively wanted to say something. But before he finished speaking, he was interrupted by Akamaiki Dantu, Genma. Okay, Shiranui Genma shrugged. The Chunin exam will be held in a week. At that time and place, you can just come here and gather. Then, disband. After that, Akamaiki Dantu left. Yu, don't forget what you promised me. As soon as Akamaiki Dantu left, Might Guy put a hand on Yu's shoulder, and said with blazing eyes and a sincere tone. Nu, by the way, you can't even remember other people's names. Why do you remember this so clearly? Yi Yu clearly remembers that Hoshigaki Kisame appeared in front of Might Guy many times. But Might Guy just can't remember the other person's name. Someone else's name. Might Guy withdrew his hand from Yi Yu's shoulder, rubbed his chin, and looked seriously thinking. A few seconds later, he asked again with a serious face, "Who are you talking about?" Well, for a moment, Yi Yu and Shiranui Genma were both speechless. "Forget it, I won't tell you anymore, I have to help you deal with gravity. Just come to me in 2 days, no, 3 days. Yi Yu waved to Might Guy and Shiranui Genma, and left immediately. Gravity, what are you talking about? Watching Yi Yu leave, Shiranui Genma approached Might Guy and asked curiously. Oh, Yi Yu plans to use gravity to help me train. Is there such a way? Chakra extraction requires tempering the body and tempering the spirit. Therefore, it is the same as spiritualization technique, and multiple shadow clone technique cannot be used to increase proficiency. Fortunately, the proficiency of chakra extraction has reached 79%. Even if you cannot use multiple shadow clone to fill the liver, it does not take much time to fill it up. 2 days later, after Yi Yu worked hard day and night, he finally reached the full level of proficiency in chakra extraction. Ding! Congratulations on the host's chakra extraction proficiency reaching the full level. Chakra extraction automatically upgraded to chakra cultivation method. Hearing the system prompt sound in his mind, Yi Yu felt happy and immediately stopped what he was doing. The proficiency of chakra extraction has finally reached the maximum level. I will never have to endure the feeling of my body being hollowed out again. Without any hesitation, he immediately began to check the newly upgraded chakra cultivation method. In the past, there was no special method for practicing chakra in the ninja world. Most ninjas, when they were ninja apprentices, only sharpened their physical bodies by climbing cliffs and moving big rocks, and tempered their spirits through meditation, so as to cultivate both internal and external skills to extract the chakra in their bodies. This method can indeed be used to increase the amount of chakra. But this method is not only time-consuming and labor-intensive, but also horribly inefficient. Most ninjas have practiced this method for more than 10 years, but the amount of chakra is still pitiful. And now, the first, skill method, specifically used to practice chakra in the history of ninjas was born. Chakra cultivation method is somewhat similar to the Shaolin Yijin Jing in fantasy martial arts. It uses more than a dozen specific groups of actions to efficiently stimulate cells in the body, and is supplemented by a specialized breathing frequency to achieve the effect of quickly extracting chakra. If ordinary ninjas practice chakra through mountain climbing, meditation and other methods, they are just scratching the surface. The chakra practice method is to specifically target your itchy areas and scratch them hard. Try the effect first. After Yi Yu checked out the chakra cultivation method, he immediately started practicing. I saw Yi Yu assuming a very weird posture, emptying his mind and maintaining a certain breathing rate. Soon, Yi Yu felt obvious soreness in several parts of his arms, legs, and lower back. If there are Byakugan, Sharingan, or Rinnegan ninjas here at this time, they will definitely find that the chakra activity of the cells in Yi Yu's body has obviously increased significantly at this moment. After that, Yi Yu changed a weird posture and corresponding breathing rate every 3 minutes. More than half an hour later, when Yi Yu finished the last set of movements and breathing, the system's mechanical notification sound immediately sounded in his mind. Ding! Congratulations! Host chakra practice proficiency +1. Yi Yu ignored the system prompts in his mind, and he couldn't wait to start feeling the chakra in his body. He wanted to see how much chakra the chakra cultivation method improved. Soon, Yi Yu was surprised to find that his chakra amount had increased by 1/10. In half an hour, the increase is 1/10. In 1 hour, it is 1/5. In that case, can't the amount of chakra be doubled several times in 1 day? In 1 year, won't my chakra amount be comparable to that of a tailed beast? Yi Yu knew this was impossible, but he still fantasized a little. Sure enough, when he completed the chakra cultivation method again, he found that the increase in chakra amount this time was obviously much less, probably only half of the first time. Then, the third, fourth, and fifth times. Each time it improves less than the last. By the fifth time, if it weren't for Yi Yu's perception ability, he would hardly be able to detect the amount of chakra in his body, which was slightly higher than the last time. Well, It seems that chakra practice method, only the first 3 times of practice every day have the most obvious improvement. If you continue to practice this method after that, the improvement will be minimal. If the cells in Yu's body could speak at this time, they would definitely curse. Cell, you know how to rest after practicing. Don't we need to rest? We will also get tired. Yu made a simple calculation based on the amount of chakra improved by these 5 trainings. He discovered that as long as he practiced the chakra cultivation method 5 times a day, the amount of chakra in his body would double after a week. If Yu's current chakra amount is 100, it will be 500 in 4 weeks, and 5,300 in 1 year. After all, there are only so many cells in Yu's body. The output of chakra will not increase due to the increase in the total amount of chakra in Yu's body. However, as the proficiency of chakra cultivation method continues to improve, Yu practices chakra cultivation method every day, and the amount of chakra he can increase may be more than what he is now. But not too much. At most, it would just double the amount of Yu's chakra in 1 week, then double it in 6 or 6.5 days. In addition, chakra cultivation method proficiency will reach full level one day. At that time, chakra cultivation method will continue to be upgraded, and the chakra improvement speed will become faster. Yu is quite satisfied with this improvement speed. Tomorrow is the day when I will enter Kagaya's different space with Guy. I'd better prepare first. If Yu is given another year or 2, with Yu's chakra capacity at that time, there is no need to prepare. Isn't it possible to enter Kagaya's different space whenever he wants? But not now. With Yu's current amount of chakra, just sending a special kunai into Kagaya's different space is probably enough. Not to mention sending people in. Yu doesn't have a power bank like Haruno Sakura. Therefore, he needs to use a more chakra-saving method to enter Kagaya's alien space. Yu has already thought of this method, which is space movement plus flying thunder god technique. First use space movement to send the thing marked with the flying thunder god spell to Kagaya's different space to serve as coordinates. Then, use the flying thunder god technique to bring yourself and Might Guy over. In this case, chakra is enough. Yu took out a piece of paper from his ninja bag. This is not ordinary paper, but a sealing paper that can carry the flying thunder god spell. Yu pressed his palm on the sealing paper. The next second, a string of black runes crawled into the seal paper along Yu's palm. Immediately, a rune emblem composed of black tadpole runes appeared on the seal paper. This is exactly Yu's flying thunder god technique. Second Hokage's flying thunder god spell is the pattern. The fourth Hokage's flying thunder god spell is text. In order to distinguish the 2 men, Yu designed his flying thunder god spell into a simple coat of arms. After imprinting the flying thunder god spell on the sealing paper, Yu activated space movement. In the blink of an eye, the sealing paper imprinted with the flying thunder god spell disappeared into thin air. Immediately afterwards, Yu placed a special kunai at home. These are the coordinates upon return. After doing this, Yu performed the flying thunder god technique. Call out. In the blink of an eye, Yu's figure disappeared. When Yu appeared again, he was already in a vast alien space. Looking around, the entire space is filled with red mounds. And this is the starting space of Otsutsuki Kagaya. Yu glanced at the seal paper that had just been sent in at his feet. He ignored it and jumped up to a red mound. Looking at this endless huge space, Yu was filled with pride. From today on, I am also the one who has personal space. When he captured White Zetsu before, Yu had envied Uchiha Obito for having a Kamui space and being able to send people or objects into the Kamui space anytime and anywhere. Now, Yu also has his own personal space. Although this space originally belonged to Otsutsuki Kagaya. But now, Yu has unilaterally declared that this is his. In addition to this primordial space, there are also lava, ice and snow, supergravity, sand, and acid. 5 spaces are connected to the primordial space. This means that Yu now owns 6 spaces in total. Lava, sand, and acid, these 3 spaces were 2 harsh environments, and Yu had no intention of getting involved. However, these 3 places can be used to imprison enemies later. The ice and snow space can be used as a storage space. The hypergravity space is used to practice physical skills. If Kagaya knew that someone not only entered her alien space after 1,000 years, but also arranged her alien space clearly, I don't know what kind of expression she would show. I remember that there is Kagaya's palace in these 6 spaces. I don't know where it is specifically. Yi Yu stood on a high red mound, building a pergola with his hands and looking around. But this space is too big. As far as the eye can see, there are only red earth mounds. Yi Yu planned to investigate first. He reached into his ninja bag. Soon, a white clay bird was pinched out by Yi Yu and tossed casually. Boom! Along with a streak of white smoke, a huge clay bird rushed out of the white smoke. Yi Yu jumped up and jumped down from the red mound. The giant white clay bird flew over to catch Yi Yu, and then rushed high into the sky with Yi Yu. Stand high and see far. The giant clay bird just hovered in the sky for a moment, and Yi Yu saw something other than red earth mounds in a certain direction. Although the distance is too far, I can't see clearly what it is. But Yi Yu guessed that it should be Kagaya's palace. That place. Yi Yu controlled the clay bird and flew directly in that direction. When Yi Yu got closer, he saw a huge palace. However, the palace was dilapidated and weathered. Kagaya has been sealed for 1,000 years, so this palace should also have been sealed for 1,000 years. Yi Yu controlled the giant clay bird to circle over Kagaya Palace, and then landed at the entrance of the palace together with the giant clay bird. Before officially entering the palace, Yi Yu passed through the gate and saw the huge statue of Kagaya inside the palace. This palace will be my base from now on. Yi Yu stepped into the palace and made a unilateral announcement. The next day. Today is the day Yi Yu and Might Guy agreed. In order to prevent Might Guy from suddenly coming to disturb me when I am practicing chakra practice. Before Yi Yu started practicing, he specially separated a shadow clone. Sure enough, before Yi Yu's 3rd round of chakra practice was over, Might Guy rushed over in a hurry. Yi Yu, here I come. Might Guy, wearing a green jumpsuit, rushed to Yi Yu's shadow clone and greeted him eagerly. Wait a moment, Yi Yu is about to take Might Guy into the hypergravity space. In that hypergravity space, not even Uzumaki Naruto's 6 Paths clone could survive. Therefore, Yi Yu can only use the main body. Then let me exercise for a while first. As he spoke, Might Guy made a handstand, and then started running with both hands. Forehead. Looking at the scene in front of him, Yi Yu suddenly remembered that in the original drama, Might Guy's legs were shattered after opening the 8th gate, and he could only move around in a wheelchair. But to show that his youth has not faded, he abandoned his wheelchair and walked with his hands. This scene in Yi Yu's mind gradually overlapped with the Might Guy in front of him. 8 inner gates. Give me a chance to learn and see what it will be like if you reach the full level of 8 inner gates proficiency. Yi Yu looked at Might Guy and thought to himself. An hour later, Yi Yu's body completed the 5 chakra training methods today. His chakra amount increased again. Feeling the growth of chakra in his body, Yi Yu's mood was extremely wonderful. Guy, let's go. Yi Yu released the shadow clone and shouted to Might Guy, who was still running with his hands buried in his head. Coming. Might Guy quickly grabbed the ground with both hands and ran towards Yi Yu. When Might Guy came to Yi Yu's side, Yi Yu did not immediately activate the Flying Thunder God technique but glanced at Might Guy's feet and reminded, the place I am about to take you to, gravity it's very big, so to prevent injury, take the weight off your legs first. For Yi Yu, Might Guy still has great trust. He followed the instructions and took off the iron body from his legs. I haven't been this relaxed for a long time. As soon as the weight was removed, Might Guy felt that his body felt much lighter. He originally wanted to try a Leaf Great Whirlwind, but Yi Yu had already grabbed his shoulder. Okay, let's go. While speaking, Yi Yu had already activated the Flying Thunder God technique. Call out. In the blink of an eye, Yi Yu and Might Guy disappeared out of thin air. Yesterday, before leaving the kicking space, Yi Yu not only left a special kunai in Kagaya's palace, but also thrown another sealing paper with the Flying Thunder God spell into the hypergravity space. Therefore, Yi Yu's Flying Thunder God technique directly enters the hypergravity space. Boom! As soon as Yi Yu and Might Guy appeared in the hypergravity space, they felt as if they were carrying a mountain on their backs. In just an instant, Yi Yu and Might Guy were pressed by the huge gravity and fell to the ground, unable to move. The body is so heavy. Might Guy wanted to get up, but his hands seemed to be filled with lead. It was very difficult to even move. It was even more difficult to get up. However, Might Guy was even more excited. He was used to training with weights on his legs. Right now, the feeling of every cell in his body being weighed made him feel even more challenging. Yi Yu's situation is similar to Might Guy's. He also has difficulty moving. Here, even Otsutsuki Kagaya, the ancestor of chakra, has difficulty moving. However, just when Yi Yu tried hard to stand up, the system's mechanical sound sounded in his mind. Ding, congratulations. Host Super Gravity Training Proficiency +1. ? Hearing the sudden system prompt, Yi Yu was stunned for a moment and then felt overjoyed. This was an unexpected surprise. He originally just wanted to send Might Guy here to exercise. He had no plans of his own. Unexpectedly, he just raised his arm, and the system automatically determined that his behavior was hypergravity training. Although I don't know what effect hypergravity training has. But just by raising his arm in this hypergravity space, he gained 1 point of hypergravity training proficiency. Then Yi Yu had nothing to hesitate. Brush up. Brush vigorously. So Yi Yu raised his hands and stretched his legs, once and again. At the same time, system notifications sounded continuously in Yi Yu's mind. Ding, congratulations. Host Super Gravity Training Proficiency +1. Ding, congratulations. Host Super Gravity Training Proficiency +1. Looking at the system panel, the Hypergravity Training Proficiency progress bar is growing at a speed visible to the naked eye, just like downloading 100 grams resources from 100 fiber optic broadband. Yi Yu was in a good mood and worked harder. System activated till now. Although Yi Yu has also experienced the situation of brushing the proficiency of a ninjutsu to the full level in 2 days. But that's based on the premise that Yi Yu uses multiple shadow clone to hollow out his body. But now, Yi Yu doesn't need to consume chakra, he only needs to move his hands and stretch his legs, and his proficiency will gradually increase. This joy is indescribable. Yi Yu, what are you doing? As soon as Might Guy stood up with difficulty, he saw Yi Yu doing some very strange movements, so he asked curiously. I will tell you, am I getting stronger? Yi Yu complained in his mind, and then said with a smile, you don't have to worry about it, I just moved my hands and feet. From Might Guy's perspective, Yi Yu does seem to be moving his hands and feet, but I don't know why, but it always feels very strange. However, since Yi Yu said that, Might Guy didn't ask any more questions. He glanced around and saw that the land seemed to have been copied and pasted by a modeler, with all the green spots covering it. Yi Yu, what exactly is this place and why did we suddenly come here? Might Guy asked Yi Yu while moving his body with difficulty. This is a hypergravity space. I used the Flying Thunder God technique to bring you here. Anyway, the fact that he would use Flying Thunder God would be exposed sooner or later, so he didn't hide it and told the truth directly. Hypergravity space. Yi Yu kept moving his hands and feet, but the gravity was too great, causing Yi Yu's movements to look stuck one after another, as if he was performing a mechanical dance. As he continued to move, the system beeps in his mind never stopped. Yi Yu said that he could keep playing like this. On the other side, Might Guy was also hunched over, taking one foot out with difficulty and walking forward. Yi Yu, is this kind of training really useful? It's very difficult for me to even walk now, and I can't complete the movements I usually train at. Might Guy took a step forward and then asked Yi Yu. If this was the Dragon Ball world, Yi Yu would definitely answer without hesitation, it would definitely be useful. But this is the world of Hokage, and Yi Yu is really not sure how effective training in a hypergravity environment will be for Might Guy. Did your speed become faster after you took off the weight? Yi Yu did not answer Might Guy's question, but asked while moving his hands and feet. Right, recalling the feeling he had just taken off the weight, Might Guy clearly felt that his body seemed lighter. The gravity environment here is just like you carrying weight. When you adapt to the hypergravity here and return to the normal environment, your speed will definitely be faster. Although Yi Yu said so to comfort Might Guy. But adapting to the hypergravity here is not easy. If he can adapt, then Otsutsuki Kagaya must be the first to adapt. However, when Otsutsuki Kagaya came here, he could only lie down. After listening to Yi Yu's words, Might Guy's eyes suddenly lit up. It makes sense. So, he worked harder. Guy, there are only a few days until the Chunin exam, so don't hurt your body. Seeing Might Guy grit his teeth and charge forward, Yi Yu couldn't help but give a reminder. After Yi Yu's reminder, Might Guy restrained himself a little. Although it is very difficult for ordinary people to adapt to the super gravity here. But Yi Yu is obviously not an ordinary person. He found that as his proficiency in hypergravity training continued to improve, his body was rapidly adapting to the environment here. When he first came in, like Might Guy, it was extremely difficult for him to lift his arms. But after a morning of activities, he was able to do some difficult movements. For example, stand on one leg for 5 seconds. When I fully adapt to the super gravity here, I can not only use this place for training in the future, but also use it as a battlefield like Toru Yoruichi. Otsutsuki Kagaya can use Ten no Gochu to pull himself and his opponent into this super gravity space in an instant. In the future, Yi Yu can also use space movement to pull himself and his opponent here. Here, Otsutsuki Kagaya can only lie down and use Yellow Springs Hirazaka and Share of Ashes for long-range attacks. But Yi Yu is not affected by the super gravity here and can move freely. By then, Yi Yu's home advantage in this hypergravity space will be greater than that of Otsutsuki Kagaya. Evening, Konoha. The figures of Yi Yu and Might Guy suddenly appeared out of thin air. As soon as he escaped from the hypergravity environment, Might Guy seemed to be rescued against the current, breathing heavily in the air. I'm so tired. It seems like all the bones in my body are hurting. Yi Yu, I can only trouble you to send me back. Although Might Guy couldn't move physically, he was still in high spirits. When he spoke, he showed his signature smile to Yi Yu. Yi Yu's condition is much better than Might Guy's. After a day of exercise, he was able to walk in the hypergravity space at the speed of an old lady crossing the road. In addition, the proficiency of hypergravity training has also been brushed up to 76%, and it will be full tomorrow. Yi Yu was about to say, okay, but when the words came to his lips, he took them back. Because just now, he had sensed a chakra nearby. The owner of this chakra is none other than Might Guy's father, Might Dai. Obviously, Might Dai was here specifically to wait for his son to come home. Looks like I don't need to take you home. Yi Yu looked in the direction of Might Dai and said with a smile. What's the meaning? Might Guy wondered. Yi Yu did not explain, but took Might Guy around an intersection, and sure enough, he saw a middle-aged ninja wearing the same clothes as Might Guy, waiting there. Dad, why are you here? Might Guy said in surprise and emotion when he saw Might wearing it. You brat, you told Yi Yu what kind of gravity training you were going to do yesterday. I knew you might not be able to walk. Might Dai knew his son very well. He smiled and cursed, and then took Might Guy from Yi Yu's hand. Dad, Guy. The next second, Yi Yu looked at the father and son, Might Dai and Might Guy, with a speechless expression. With tears in their eyes, they acted out a scene of fatherly kindness and filial piety. It's just that this scene seems familiar. However, the characters playing out the scene in Yi Yu's memory were Might Guy and Rock Lee. Yi Yu. Suddenly, Might Dai called Yi Yu. Yi Yu looked up. Might Dai didn't say anything, he just gave Yi Yu a thumbs up and showed his shining white teeth. Immediately afterwards, Might Guy, who was lying on Might Dai's back, did exactly the same thing. Yi Yu's face twitched. Good guy, the source has been found, it turns out to be you, Might Dai. Yi Yu, come to my house when you have time. Finally, Might Dai said something to Yi Yu and left with Might Guy on his back. Time flies, and 4 days pass in the blink of an eye. In the past 4 days, Yi Yu not only reached the full level of proficiency in hypergravity training but also successfully upgraded it to hypergravity adaptation. Moreover, he also used multiple shadow clone techniques to reach the full level of ninja tool forging proficiency. Yi Yu Layman's ninja tool forging was naturally to make the grass pheasant sword. A week has passed since I obtained the instructions for making and operating the grass pheasant sword from Orochimaru. However, it was not until last night that Yi Yu made the grass pheasant sword. In the beginning, Yohane exchanged the methods of making and operating the Kusanagi sword from Orochimaru in order to develop him into a swordsmanship expert. Therefore, When making the pheasant sword, he specially made the pheasant sword into the shape of a flying sword. This pheasant sword does not have any fancy functions. Some are just hard enough. In addition, Yi Yu also imprinted the Flying Thunder God spell on the inside of the sword hilt. From now on, he will not only be able to use this flying sword to take people's heads thousands of miles away, but he can also use the Flying Thunder God technique to rush over in an instant and take back people's heads. Perfect. Although after Yi Yu finished making the grass pheasant sword, he wanted to master the sword control skills immediately. But today is the day of Chunan's exam. The sword control plan had to be put on hold temporarily. Early that morning, after Yi Yu finished practicing today's chakra training method, he came to the gathering place near Konoha Academy. As soon as they arrived, Might Guy and Shiranui Genma were waiting there. Yi Yu, teacher Tangtong has already arrived. He asked us to take the qualification form and enter the examination room directly. Seeing Yi Yu coming over with the Senbon needle in his mouth, Shiranui Genma spoke first. The Chunin exams of this period were somewhat different from the Chunin exams of Uzumaki Naruto's time. First of all, the people who took the Chunin exam were all genin from Konoha, and there were no ninjas from other villages. After all, not long after the Second Ninja War, the ninjas of the 5 major nations still hated each other. Even if they meet without fighting each other, how could they let ninjas from other villages enter Konoha village to take the Chunin exam? Secondly, during the Second Ninja War, Konoha lost a lot of backbone forces. In order to replace this part of the strength, the Chunin exams in this period were far less stringent than in later generations. Like Uzumaki Naruto's Chunin exam, hundreds of genin took the exam, and in the end only Shikamaru succeeded in becoming a Chunin. It is absolutely impossible to happen. Not strict is not strict. But if you perform very poorly in all 3 exams, the higher-ups in Konoha will still not let you become a Chunin. For example, Obito, don't you know that today is the day to take the Chunin exam? Kakashi, who was wearing a mask, said in a stern tone to Uchiha Obito standing aside. Uchiha Obito took off his goggles and carefully put a few drops of eye drops into his eyes. After doing this, he said to Kakashi, I know, I told you, I saw an old woman crossing the road on the road. I came a little bit late in order to help her cross the road. Are you a bit off? Ninjas who don't follow the rules are useless. Who are you calling a loser? On the side, Nohara Lin saw that Kakashi and Uchiha Obito were about to start a fight. She immediately pulled away from them and said helplessly, well, you two, stop arguing. While talking, Kakashi, Uchiha Obito, and Nohara Lin opened the door of a classroom and walked in. At this time, there were already many candidates taking the Chunin exam sitting in the classroom. There was also a middle-aged examiner standing on the podium. Before, the examiner seemed to be speaking. But at this moment, the examiner stopped speaking, and all the candidates' eyes fell on the 3 Kakashi people. Nohara Rin, who was thin-skinned and was stared at by so many people because she was late, looked embarrassed. Go in and find your seat and sit down. The examiner glanced at the 3 Kakashi people and said casually. Kakashi, here, here. Might Guy immediately stood up, pointed to an empty seat diagonally opposite behind him, and said to Kakashi. Before the 3 Kakashi people were seated, the examiner's voice sounded again in the classroom. What he talked about was nothing more than the rules of this first exam. Before Yi Yu even finished listening to what the examiner said, he knew that this scene was similar to the first session of the Chunin exam by Uzumaki Naruto. They all test the intelligence gathering abilities of the ninjas. Sure enough, after the exam officially started, Yi Yu and other candidates received a very difficult test paper. In order to complete this examination paper, the candidates in the classroom began to show their talents. Someone used bugs to collect answers. Some people also use dogs to deliver messages. What's more, use snakes. Yuhi Hong was answering questions seriously 1 second, and the next second, a familiar voice sounded in her mind. Yo, Red. Sure enough, Yuhi Hong saw Yi Yu again in her golden spiritual world. We are taking an exam, how did you get into my body? Yuri's ruby-like eyes looked at Yi Yu and said playfully. I don't know how to solve a few questions. Let me ask you for help. Yi Yu said seriously. If things were normal, Yuhi Hong might actually believe that Yi Yu entered her body to ask questions. But I'm taking exams now. This is the time to ask for advice. Are you asking for advice? You are plagiarizing someone else's answer. Bah, this is the first time I've heard someone talk about cheating in such a nice way. Yu Hihong let out a soft sigh, and then said with a smile on her face. Yu just smiled and didn't answer. Then he manipulated Yu Hihong's body with ease and began to read the answers she wrote. I'll return my body to you first, and I'll come back later. After reading the answer, Yu released the spiritual technique and left Yu Hihong's body. What do you mean by giving your body back to me? This is my body. Yu Hihong muttered in her mind. The soul returned to his body, and Yu immediately began to write down the answer he just read. After finishing writing, Yu glanced in the direction of Might Guy with the corner of his eye. Unexpectedly, I discovered that Might Guy was writing rapidly. Yu originally planned to use space movement to help Might Guy. Unexpectedly, Might Guy didn't need his help at all. Thinking back to the original show, Might Guy eventually became Jonin. Yu was relieved. Time's up, the exam is over. The first exam lasted only 1 hour. When the time was up, the examiner stood up and shouted loudly. There's not enough time. These questions are too difficult. I can't do it at all. Those candidates who did not understand the true purpose of this exam reluctantly put down their pens and complained softly. Fortunately, this time the Chunin exam implemented an inspection system rather than an elimination system. Therefore, after the first exam, there was no large-scale elimination of candidates. Just as the candidates were talking a lot, someone suddenly appeared on the podium. This person seemed to appear out of nowhere. This person was seen wearing a Konoha Jonin uniform. The most conspicuous thing is his golden broken hair. The moment they saw this person, several people in Kakashi's class exclaimed, "Teacher Minato." Yes, this person is none other than Namikaze Minato. Although Namikaze Minato became famous in the ninja world after the Third Ninja War. But at this time, Namikaze Minato, with his handsome appearance, gentle personality, and strong strength, is still very popular among the ninjas in Konoha village. Seeing Namikaze Minato appear, all the examiners' eyes fell on him. Why are you here, Minato-sensei? The way he appeared just now was so cool. That's the Flying Thunder God technique, it appeared in a flash. The person who says Namikaze Minato looks cool in the way he appears as Mitarashi Anko. Yu seriously doubts that the way Uzumaki Naruto appeared in the Chunin exam and Mitarashi Anko's appearance were affected by the way Namikaze Minato appeared this time. She also wanted to have a cool debut. It's a pity that it ended in silence. I am the examiner for the second exam of this Chunin exam, Namikaze Minato. Next, please go to the 44th training ground. The exam will officially start in 1 hour. Please don't be late. Namikaze Minato announced to the candidates in a calm tone. Well, see you later. After saying that, Namikaze Minato's figure disappeared out of thin air. As soon as Namikaze Minato left, the candidates immediately exploded. It turns out Ms. Minato is the examiner for the second exam. The Flying Thunder God technique is so cool. It appears in a flash and disappears in a flash. I want to learn it too. The candidates were talking among themselves as they walked towards the outside of the examination room. Among the crowd, Might Guy glanced at Yu, because he knows that Yu can also Flying Thunder God technique. However, he didn't say much. Yu saw Might Guy looking over, and then he looked back. Might Guy gave Yu a thumbs up and opened his mouth, revealing his shining white teeth. Forehead. Looking at this scene, Yu's eyelids couldn't help but twitch. Let's go, Guy, Yu, it will take a long time to get to the 44th training ground from here. Shiranui Genma, holding the Senbon needle in his mouth, greeted Yu and Might Guy, and then the three of them rushed directly towards the 44th training ground. Training Ground 44, also known as the Forest of Death. It is also the venue for the second Chunin exam in the original drama. When Yu and the others arrived, many candidates gathered outside the fenced-in practice field. And a banner hung on the fence. Chunin exam second session, class versus class battle. Obviously, the content of the second exam is a team battle between the two groups. When there were still 5 minutes left before the exam, Namikaze Minato's figure appeared in front of all the candidates again. Now I will announce the rules for the second exam. Namikaze Minato stood directly below the banner, facing the candidates. Immediately, he raised his right arm, pointed with his thumb at the banner behind him and said, "As you can see, the second exam is a group confrontation." Single quote. Before the exam officially starts, each group sends one person to me to draw lots. Two teams with the same serial number will compete in the examination room, and the serial number represents the order of appearance. After Namikaze Minato finished speaking, each group sent one person to draw lots. Isn't it convenient for the Byakugan of the Hyuga family to draw lots to decide the opponent? Shiranui Genma, who held the Senbon needle in his mouth, rested his hands on the back of his head, looked at the lottery device over there, and complained lazily. "Minato-sensei is just staring there, how can I make you roll your eyes?" An examinee heard Shiranui Genma's complaints and immediately retorted, "Yi-Yu, Guy, who in our group will draw lots?" Shiranui Genma asked Yi-Yu and Might Guy again. Me. Might Guy volunteered, and then walked very excitedly towards where Namikaze Minato was. At the same time, Nohara Lin from Kakashi class was very worried. Because Uchiha Obito from his class was late again. "Obito, why haven't you come yet?" Nohara Lin stood on tiptoes and looked towards the direction of the training ground. "Lin, I told you not to spoil Obito a long time ago. If you do this, he will never get rid of his habit of being late." Kakashi said something unhappily, and then walked in the direction of Namikaze Minato and said to Nohara Rin, "I'll go and draw the lot first." Soon, Kakashi drew the number 1. Looking at this number, Kakashi secretly thought something was wrong. Number 1 represents the first appearance. But Uchiha Obito hasn't come yet. Just when Kakashi was thinking about how to deal with this matter, a familiar voice suddenly came to his ears. "Kakashi, what number did you draw?" Might Guy wandered over at some point and put his head in front of him to look at his number plate. After the number is drawn, it is not prohibited from being disclosed. So Kakashi didn't hide it from Might Guy. When Might Guy saw Kakashi's number, he was overjoyed. "Haha, Kakashi, we are really destined opponents." While speaking, Might Guy made a pose and raised the number plate in front of Kakashi. I saw 1 written on Might Guy's number plate. Might Guy's voice was already loud, and he didn't hold back. It was difficult for Yi-Yu not to hear it. Seeing that Might Guy and Kakashi had drawn the same number, Yi-Yu also sighed, "It's really destined." In the original drama, Kakashi's class and Guy's class were opposite each other. But now, although Yi-Yu's time travel has changed the composition of Guy's class. But this time in the Chunin exam, I still got it right. Soon, the second session of the Chunin exam officially began. As the iron gate of the 44th training ground was opened, Yi-Yu, Might Guy and other candidates walked towards the inside of the training ground. Did something happen to Kakashi and the others? Might Guy saw everyone walking into the training ground, except for Kakashi and Nohara Lin, walking towards Namikaze Minato. He glanced at Kakashi with some concern and said casually, "It seems to be another teammate of Kakashi, who hasn't come over yet." Shiranui Genma replied nonchalantly, What about our match with Kakashi and the others?" After hearing what Shiranui Genma said, Might Guy suddenly became anxious. When he drew the same number card as Kakashi, he was still thinking about how to beat Kakashi. Now that there is one less person in the Kakashi class, it will definitely be difficult for the game to continue. "Don't worry, the examiners will resolve this matter." Yohane glanced at Kakashi and Namikaze Minato and answered casually. In the original drama, when Chunin took the individual competition, Uchiha Sasuke was also late. In the end, the examiner postponed the match between Uchiha Sasuke and Gaara, allowing other teams to start their matches first. Now, Uchiha Obito is late, and Namikaze Minato, as the examiner, will definitely use a similar method to deal with it. As Yi-Yu expected, after Namikaze Minato knew that Uchiha Obito had not arrived yet, he pondered for a moment, and then took a look at the registered lottery results of each group. After seeing that Kakashi's class drew number 1, and their opponents were Yohane, Might Guy, and Shiranui Genma who were also no. 1, Namikaze Minato said, "Now we can only postpone the competition between you and Yohane's class. Now, let the other groups compete first, and after Obito arrives, we will let your two classes compete." However, you must first seek the consent of the 3 members of Yi-Yu's class. Under normal circumstances, failure to show up for the game will be considered a forfeit. According to the rules, the other side is automatically determined to win. In other words, if Yi-Yu and the others do not agree to postpone the game, then Yi-Yu's class will win without a fight. We will discuss it with Yi-Yu and the others. Immediately, Kakashi and the 2 found Yi-Yu and the others. The game was postponed, and Might Guy naturally fully agreed to this request. He just wanted to compete with Kakashi. He didn't care whether he was the first to compete or the last to compete. Yi-Yu and the lazy Shiranui Genma both said they didn't care. In the end, Namikaze Minato arranged the competition between Johan class and Kakashi class. Time flies. Team battles started and ended. By the time Uchiha Obito arrived belatedly, 4 rounds had already taken place. As both sides of the 5th round match have not yet been announced, the examiner directly asked Class Yoha and Class Kakashi to take the stage. Is it finally our turn? When the examiner announced his name, Might Guy became very excited. Kakashi, he's not easy to deal with. Shiranui Genma, holding the Senbon needle in his mouth, had a rare serious expression on his face. Don't worry, leave it to me, Kakashi. Might Guy doesn't care at all about Kakashi's genius aura and vows to compete with him. Hearing the conversation between Might Guy and Shiranui Genma, Yi-Yu just smiled and shook his head without speaking. Soon, Yi-Yu and the others arrived at the competition venue. At the same time, the 3 Kakashi people also came over. After the 6 people were ready, the examiner, who also served as the referee, immediately raised his arm and waved heavily. The game begins. Following the examiner's order, Might Guy, who was good at taijutsu, rushed forward immediately. Shiranui Genma, who was good at long-range attacks, jumped back and distanced himself from Kakashi and the others. But Yi-Yu stood still and didn't move. He took out 3 detonating charms, raised his arm, and waved it towards Kakashi and the other 2 people. Space movement plus detonating talisman. Boo-hoo-hoo. The 3 detonating symbols instantly disappeared from Yi-Yu's hand. When it reappeared, it was already behind Kakashi, Uchiha Obito, and Nohara Rin, and attached to their bodies. Since these 3 detonating talismans appeared out of thin air, Kakashi and the other 3 did not notice them at all. They're still thinking about fighting the Might Guy coming at them. The 3 Kakashi people did not notice the detonating talisman that suddenly appeared on them, but someone did. This person is none other than Namikaze Minato. He was watching the game from the control room in the central tower. When he saw on the surveillance screen that the detonating talisman in Yi-Yu's hand suddenly disappeared out of thin air, his expression suddenly changed. This is time and space ninjutsu. Soon, he saw the detonating talisman behind the 3 Kakashi people on another surveillance screen. Without any hesitation, Namikaze Minato immediately activated the Flying Thunder God technique and disappeared into the control room. At the same time, Class Johan and Class Kakashi were on the battlefield. Uchiha Obito is preparing to release Fire Style and attack Might Guy. Might Guy is raising his foot and kicking Uchiha Obito. Just as the 2 were attacking each other, Namikaze Minato appeared out of thin air between the 2 and blocked them. Minato-sensei. Seeing Namikaze Minato suddenly appear, Kakashi, Uchiha Obito, and Nohara Rin were all extremely surprised. After all, they were taking exams. They didn't understand why Teacher Minato, as the examiner, suddenly appeared on the field and tried to stop them. Just when Kakashi and others were thinking about Namikaze Minato's purpose, Namikaze Minato said, "The game is over. Kakashi, Obito, Lin, you have lost." What? As soon as Namikaze Minato said this, not only the Kakashi trio, but also Might Guy and Shiranui Genma looked confused. Kakashi and the others. Our game has just begun, why did we lose? Might Guy duo. What? We didn't do anything, how could we win? Namikaze Minato did not open his mouth to explain. He took a deep look at Yi-Yu, then came behind Kakashi, Uchiha Obito, and Nohara Rin, and tore off the detonating charms on their bodies. When they saw Namikaze Minato tearing off a detonating talisman from behind him, the hairs on the hairs of the 3 Kakashi stood up. What happened? When did I have a detonating talisman attached to my body? Uchiha Obito pulled hard on his clothes, trying to see if there was any detonating charm left on his back. The detonating talisman was attached to my body, but I didn't notice it at all. If this detonating talisman explodes. Kakashi's face under the mask showed an expression of lingering fear. Minato-sensei, what are these detonating charms? While Nohara Rin was happy, she also asked Namikaze Minato. You used the time and space ninjutsu to stick them on your backs. If you detonated these detonating symbols, you would be dead. So, I say the game is over. While explaining Nohara Rin's problem, Namikaze Minato also had deep doubts in his eyes. When he was tearing off the detonating talisman for Kakashi and the others, he checked the Kakashi and the others and found that there were no traces of the Flying Thunder God's spell on them. This means that the time and space ninjutsu that Yu just used is not a time and space ninjutsu like Flying Thunder God. What kind of time and space ninjutsu is this? It can deliver items to the target without marking them in advance. Namikaze Minato looked at Yu, secretly surprised in his heart. Space movement is upgraded from the full-level Flying Thunder God technique. But it is very different from Flying Thunder God technique. Therefore, even Namikaze Minato, who is good at Flying Thunder God technique, will not notice the connection between space movement and Flying Thunder God technique. After hearing Namikaze Minato's explanation, everyone showed expressions of realization. Yu, when did you learn the space and time ninjutsu? Shiranui Genma asked. He and Yu have been on the same team for so long, but he only found out today that Yu actually hides such a skill. He has never seen Yu use it before. Today, he not only won the game easily, but also alerted the examiner to come over in person. Announce the results of the game. This made him both surprised and envious. If Yu is not taking the Chunin exam, but is on the battlefield. If the person opposite is not Kakashi and others, but an enemy. Just now, Yu was not as simple as using space movement to stick the detonating talisman on the opponent. He will directly use space movement to send clay bombs into the opponent's body. At the same time, he will not make the initial action of throwing out the detonating talisman. To activate space movement, you only need to touch the detonating talisman, and there is no need to do such redundant and eye-catching actions. He did this kind of action just to tell the referee, look, I'm going to attack. Yes, that's right, the detonating talisman on the Kakashi trio was my attack just now. He was worried that if he didn't make such a conspicuous move, it would take a long time for the referee to discover the detonating talisman behind the three Kakashi people. However, the fact is that the referee did not quickly discover the detonating symbols on the Kakashi trio. On the contrary, it was Namikaze Minato, the examiner in the monitoring room, who discovered it immediately. In addition, he chose to use detonating charms instead of clay bombs because ordinary ninjas had never seen clay bombs. If you are not the owner of Sharingan, Byakugan, and Rinnegan, it would be difficult to realize that that thing is a bomb that can kill people. This is like a person who has never seen radioactive metal. Suddenly he saw an iron lump on the roadside. Out of curiosity, he picked it up and took it home. Little did he know that he picked up a bomb that could kill people. The detonating talisman is different. The detonating talisman is a well-known danger in the ninja world. Closer to home, hearing Shiranui Genma's question, Yu replied, I got it suddenly not long ago. He is telling the truth. Space movement was indeed obtained by maxing out the proficiency of Flying Thunder God technique not long ago. However, when his answer fell into the ears of Namikaze Minato and others, it took on another meaning. At this moment, a proper term suddenly appeared in Namikaze Minato's mind, blood succession limit awakening. In the ninja world, many people suddenly possess some kind of special ability. For example, the Sharingan of the Uchiha clan, the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan, Dead Bone Pulse of the Taketori clan, these abilities are hidden in their blood, waiting for the day they will be awakened. Although Namikaze Minato has never heard of anyone awakening the blood inheritance limit such as time and space. But the limits of blood inheritance in the ninja world are full of strange things. Some people's eyes can turn red, and some people's bones can grow. Yu has awakened the blood inheritance limit of time and space. Is this reasonable? The more Namikaze Minato thought about it, the more he felt that Yu's time and space ability was the blood successor limit. He immediately looked at Yu and said, so that's it, is it because he has awakened the time and space blood successor limit? No wonder you don't need to set the space coordinates in advance. Items can be delivered directly to their destination. As soon as Namikaze Minato said these words, Yu was stunned. Hold the grass, why didn't I expect that space movement can be explained like this? The Chunin exam is not over yet, and there are still many teams to compete in. Yu, Kakashi and others did not stay on the field for too long. After the referee and examiner officially announced that Yu's class had won, Yu, Kakashi and others left the field. Looking at Yu's leaving figure, Namikaze Minato hesitated to speak. He wanted to ask Yu about his time and space abilities. But everyone's ability is a secret. Now, as the examiner, if he takes the initiative to ask candidates about their secrets, it will give people a feeling of coercion. Namikaze Minato doesn't want to do such a thing. Therefore, he suppressed the urge to look for Yu immediately in his heart and prepared to look for Yu again when he had the opportunity in the future. If Yu can help me, my Spiral Flash Super Round Dance Roar 3 style will definitely succeed. Namikaze Minato thought to himself happily. Yes, Namikaze Minato came to Yu because he wanted Yu to help him perform the Spiral Flash Super Ring Dance Shout 3. This move, Namikaze Minato thinks is very powerful. However, it is more troublesome to use. You need to throw a special kunai with flash bombs on the battlefield in advance. However, the enemy cannot just watch you throw a kunai and do nothing. Therefore, Spiral Flash Super Round Dance Shout 3 has a high possibility of failure. However, after seeing Yohane's time and space ability, Namikaze Minato saw the possibility of the success of Spiral Flash Super Rondo Roar 3. Yu uses his ability to teleport a special kunai with flash bombs to the battlefield, and then uses the Flying Thunder God technique to shuttle through the battlefield. In this way, the enemy would not have time to react. Perfect. It's just that he doesn't know how many items and how far Yu's time and space ability can transport. After all, he just saw Yu transmit 3 detonating talismans. His special kunai is much heavier than the detonating talisman, and the distance it needs to be teleported is much farther than the distance Yu used to teleport the detonating talisman before. Of course, Yu didn't know that Namikaze Minato was planning on him. If he were to find out, he would definitely complain, "What a stupid name you gave for this ninjutsu." The third session of this Chunin exam is almost exactly the same as the third session of Uzumaki Naruto's Chunin exam. They are all held in the center tower of the 44th exercise ground. They are all individual competitions. The time is set in the afternoon. There were still several hours before the exam started, and Yu didn't intend to waste it. He planned to use this period of time to brush up on his proficiency in sword controlling as much as he could. After saying hello to Might Guy and Shiranui Genma, Yu's mind moved and he directly activated the Flying Thunder God technique. The next moment, Yu's figure disappeared into the 44th training ground. When he appeared again, he was already in the Kagaya Palace in the beginning space. The Kusanagi sword that Yu completed last night was placed on the palm of the huge Kagaya statue. He did not go up to pick up the grass pheasant sword. Instead, like Orochimaru when he invaded Konoha, he hooked his finger and moved his mind, trying to control the grass pheasant sword to fly. During this process, Yu also said, "Get up." This prefix is useless. Simply because he felt that at this time, if the word, chi, was not included, it would not have the flavor of sword control. As soon as the word, chi, came out of Yu's mouth, the grass pheasant sword on the palm of Kagaya's statue began to shake, as if it was attracted by a magnet. It's just that the attraction of this magnet doesn't seem to be very strong. The grass pheasant sword only shook a few times before falling down again. Yu had already expected this situation. After all, his grass pheasant sword had just been made not long ago, and he had almost no proficiency in operating the grass pheasant sword. However, this is just the beginning. When he reaches full proficiency in manipulating the pheasant sword, it will become a true sword manipulating skill. Riding the sword and riding the wind, you are free between heaven and earth. Ding, congratulations. Host manipulating pheasant sword proficiency +1. Ding, congratulations. Host manipulating pheasant sword proficiency +1. Yu kept trying to control the grass pheasant sword to fly again and again. And in his mind, the system's mechanical beep sounded continuously. 2 hours later, the proficiency of manipulating pheasant sword reached 5%. Yi Yu was finally able to make the grass pheasant sword float stably in midair. However, this level of proficiency is not enough for Yi Yu to control the grass pheasant sword to move quickly. Phew, the third test of the Chunin exam is about to begin. Let's finish here first. Yi Yu took a breath. Controlling the pheasant sword requires the consumption of chakra. Fortunately, Yi Yu's continuous practice of chakra cultivation method during the past 6 days has increased his chakra amount by 6/7 compared to 6 days ago. Otherwise, he really wouldn't be able to gain proficiency for 2 hours in one go. The more chakra, the better. Yi Yu felt the amount of chakra remaining in his body and said with some emotion. After the system was activated and before the chakra cultivation method appeared, he would not experience the feeling of his body being hollowed out several times a day. But now, he has practiced proficiency for 2 hours at a stretch, and there is still some remaining amount of chakra in his body. This allowed Yi Yu to experience the joy of abundant chakra. Just when Yi Yu was about to put the grass pheasant sword back into the palm of the Kagaya statue and take the Chunin exam, his movements suddenly stopped. It seems like I don't need to put it back now. I can take it with me to brush up on my proficiency. While speaking, Yi Yu's mind moved, and the grass pheasant sword suspended in front of him slowly flew towards him. Soon, under Yi Yu's control, the grass pheasant sword was suspended behind his back and attached to his clothes. If you don't look carefully, you will think that Yi Yu is carrying a sword. But in fact, the sword is hanging in the air. Yi Yu has been controlling it. Ding, congratulations. Host manipulating pheasant sword proficiency +1. Ding, congratulations. Host manipulating pheasant sword proficiency +1. While Yi Yu was carrying the sword, a steady stream of proficiency +1 prompts sounded in his mind. Hearing this prompt, Yi Yu was extremely satisfied. Do you think I am carrying a sword? No, I am actually getting stronger. Yi Yu came to the palace gate and glanced at his own mirror image through the smooth wall. The posture of carrying the sword needs to be changed. Well, the posture with the sword on the waist is a bit like 2 pillars. It's too pretentious and not suitable for me. Well, this posture is good, a bit like the sword immortal. I will use this posture from now on. After adjusting the posture of carrying the sword, Yi Yu grabbed the pheasant sword, activated the Flying Thunder God technique, and disappeared into Kagaya Palace. When Yi Yu appeared in front of Might Guy and Shiranui Genma, carrying a sword, he really caught their attention. Yi Yu, when did you learn to use a sword? Might Guy and Shiranui Genma had never seen Yi Yu use a sword before. Yi Yu suddenly came over, carrying a sword. They circled around Yi Yu, very curious. I don't know how to use a sword. Yi Yu told the truth. He really doesn't know how to use a sword, he used to use kunai. He has yet to brush up on his proficiency in sword skills. I can brush it up when I have the chance in the future. Hearing Yi Yu's answer, Shiranui Genjian was speechless. You don't know how to use a sword, why are you carrying a sword on your back? Of course it's to gain proficiency. Yi Yu responded silently in his heart and said, I'm ready to learn the sword. Yi Yu, Genjian, the game is about to start, let's go in. Might Guy greeted Yi Yu and Shiranui Genma, and then the 3 of them walked towards the competition venue in the center tower. The playing field is as big as Konoha Academy's playground. There are 2 floors on either side of the wall. The second level is the viewing platform. Right in front of the venue, there stood a huge stone statue. The statue was a pair of palms forming seals. When Yi Yu, Might Guy, and Shiranui Genma arrived at the arena, many ninjas had already gathered on the arena. Among them are 3 people from Kakashi's class. This time, Uchiha Obito was not late. Kakashi. Might Guy saw Kakashi there and immediately shouted. When he saw Kakashi turning his head to look over, he immediately gave a thumbs up and grinned, revealing his shining white teeth. Chapter 31. Quiet, I am the invigilator for the 3rd session of this Chunin exam. Next, the exam rules will be announced. This exam is a personal battle. On the big screen behind me, 2 candidates will be selected for a competition. During the competition, you are not allowed to. A middle-aged Konoha shinobi came to the front of the candidates and said loudly. After the examiner announced the exam rules, the big screen behind him immediately began to scroll. The names of candidates such as Might Guy, Kakashi, Yohane, Yuhi Kurenai, Mitarashi Anko, Moonlight Hayate, and Sakurai were all scrolling on the big screen. Soon, under the gaze of all the candidates, the names on the big screen stopped scrolling, and two names appeared. Yi Yu vs. Moonlight Blast. Yi Yu, I didn't expect that it would be your turn first. Seeing Yi Yu's name appear on the big screen, Shiranui Genma said casually with Senbon needle in his mouth. Might Guy looked at Yi Yu and showed his signature smile. Yi Yu, come on. While Shiranui Genma and Might Guy were talking, the examiner in front spoke again. The two candidates whose names appear on the screen will stay, and the rest will leave immediately. Soon, all the other candidates walked to the stairs on both sides of the examination room and headed to the viewing platform on the second floor. On the field, only Yi Yu, Yu Guangfeng and the examiner were left. Yi Yu glanced at Yu Guangfeng, who was pale and weak across from him. Without saying anything, he silently drew out the grass pheasant sword, carrying, on his back. Moonlight Gale Wind saw Yi Yu draw his sword, so he also drew his sword and said, Ahem, Yi Yu, I didn't expect that you are also good with a sword. Next, I will learn your sword skills. Hearing Yu Guangfeng's words, Yi Yu was immediately speechless. I won't, don't talk nonsense. I just carry a sword on my back, why do you think I know how to use a sword? Also, I didn't draw my sword just to compete with you in swordsmanship. The reason why Yi Yu pulled out the Kusanagi sword from behind was entirely because with his current proficiency in controlling the Kusanagi sword he could not let the Kusanagi sword hang in the air while using other ninjutsu to fight people. If Yi Yu doesn't draw the Kusanagi sword now, when he uses other ninjutsu later, the Kusanagi sword hanging behind him will definitely fall on the spot. Just imagine, when you are fighting, the sword behind you suddenly falls off, that scene, tisk tisk. However, now that Yi Yu's sword had been drawn out, he had no choice but to bite the bullet and said, okay, let me also learn your unique skill, the dance of the three suns and the moon. Just when Yi Yu and Yu Guangfeng were talking trash to each other before the game, the candidates on the viewing platform were also talking a lot. Both of them use swords. Is this a swordsmanship competition? Not only swordsmanship, Hayate can also use teleportation and invisibility. If Yi Yu can't sense it, then he will be in trouble. Although all the candidates present were from the same period as Konoha. Many of them are even classmates. But even so, there is a distinction between closeness and distance. Ninjas who are close to Moonlight Hayate naturally hope that Moonlight Hayate can win this game. The ninja who has a good relationship with Yi Yu cheers for Yi Yu. Yuhi Hong is the one who cheers for Yi Yu. Hearing the discussion of the candidates over there, Yuhi Hong looked at Yi Yu on the field below and thought to herself. Do you feel it? She clearly remembered that Yi Yu was able to use perception after entering her body. Therefore, she was thinking whether Yi Yu could enter her body later to sense the invisible moonlight blast. But soon, Yuhi Hong's delicate little face turned red. She complained to herself, what am I thinking? We are taking the Chunin exam now. If he entered my body during the exam, it should be considered a foul, right? Uchiha Obito lay on the railing, glanced at the candidates who were discussing, and said listlessly, these guys have no idea that Yi Yu has that kind of ability. As long as Yi Yu shows that ability again, the game will definitely end in an instant. Quote. During the team battle in the morning, there were not many spectators except the examiners on site and the examiner behind the monitor. Therefore, the fact that Yi Yu has a time and space-like blood inheritance limit has not been spread yet. Other candidates did not know Yi Yu's strength. On the playing field, when the examiner saw that Yi Yu and Yu Guangfeng were both ready to fight, he immediately raised the flag and waved heavily, the competition begins. Following the examiner's order, Moonlight Gale took the lead. I saw his feet move, and he rushed towards Yi Yu quickly. While running, Moonlight Gale's figure suddenly split into three. Secret Sword, Moon Shadow. This move of Moonlight Blast is somewhat similar to Phantom Body Flicker technique. They all use high-speed movement to create afterimages to fight against the enemy. However, the Moon Shadow of Moonlight Gale is a virtual shadow, which can only confuse the enemy and does not have the ability to attack. The Phantom of Phantom Body Flicker technique can attack together with the main body. Phantom Body Flicker Technique. Without thinking too much, Yi Yu used Phantom Body Flicker Technique, and his body was also divided into 3. What? It's the same as my secret sword. Moonlight Gale, who was running towards him, looked at the 3 Yi Yu in front of him with a look of surprise on his face. The candidates on the viewing platform were also quite surprised. These 2 people actually used the exact same tricks. Were their swordsmanship taught by the same teacher? While the candidates were talking about each other, on the field, 3 Yi Yu and 3 months of Guangfeng had already collided with each other. Whoosh! 2 of them, Guangfeng, disappeared like bubbles the moment they collided with 2 Yi Yu. Only the body of Moonlight Gale did not disappear, and the sword in his hand collided with one of Yi Yu's grass pheasant swords. Have a real sense of reality. Is this the real body in front of you? Moonlight Gale looked at Yi Yu, who blocked his sword strike in front of him, and instinctively thought that the opponent was also Yi Yu's true form. Then, he moved his feet, trying to distance himself from Yi Yu. He just didn't wait for his figure to retreat. He clearly felt that there was a sword pointing at him behind him. How come? Isn't the one in front of me Yi Yu's true body? Moonlight Gale turned his head and looked at Yi Yu, who was holding a grass pheasant sword and pressing the tip of the sword against his back, with a look of disbelief on his face. Moonlight Swift Wind couldn't tell. He couldn't tell which one was Yi Yu's true body and which one was Yi Yu's phantom. It was obvious that he felt a real blow from the grass pheasant sword in Yi Yu's hand in front of him. But the grass pheasant sword behind him was also real. If Yi Yu uses the Shadow Clone technique, Moonlight Blast can still understand. After all, Shadow Clone is a physical clone and can attack together with the main body. But at the moment, Yi Yu is obviously an afterimage like the moon shadow he cast. Afterimages can attack like physical clones. Moonlight Gale had never heard of such a thing. Ahem, I lost. Although Yugong Gale didn't understand what Yi Yu's move was about. But he understood that if Yi Yu hadn't kept his hand, the grass pheasant sword would have been thrust into his body instead of against his back. Therefore, Moonlight Hayate simply gave up. It only took a few seconds from the time the referee announced the start of the game to when Moonlight Blast took the initiative to admit defeat. Because all this happened so fast, those distracted candidates in the stands did not even have time to take a look at the competition on the field. The competition is over. What's going on? Why did Hayate suddenly admit defeat? Suddenly admitting defeat? Didn't you see that Yi Yu's sword was already pressed against Gale's back? Isn't that an afterimage? Yi Yu in front of the blast is Yi Yu's true body. No, the Yi Yu in front of the blast is an afterimage, and the Yi Yu behind him is the real body. All of a sudden, the candidates were talking a lot. Like Moonlight Gale, they couldn't tell which Yi Yu was the real person. What a clever method, even I can't tell which one is the main body. The examiner naturally saw the battle between Yi Yu and Yugong Gale. He was also unable to distinguish between Yi Yu's body and phantom. However, this did not affect his announcement of the results of the game. Winner, Yi Yu. The examiner raised the flag on his right hand and announced loudly. The control room in the central tower. At this time, besides the examiner Namikaze Minato, there was another person present in the monitoring room. This person is none other than the third Hokage of Konoha Village, Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was wearing a Hokage hat, watched the battle between Yohane and Moonlight Hayate on the screen. He also became interested and asked Namikaze Minato on the side, "Minato, can you tell the difference between Yohane and Tsukiko Hayate? The real body?" Namikaze Minato did not answer immediately, but pondered for a moment, and then slowly said, "These 3 Yi Yu are all the original bodies, and they are all afterimages." After hearing Namikaze Minato's answer, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Namikaze Minato. "How do you say that?" Namikaze Minato took out 3 special kunai and placed them in 3 directions in the room. The next second, Namikaze Minato activated the Flying Thunder God technique. I saw Namikaze Minato's figure flashing back and forth in the places where the 3 special kunas were. At first, Sarutobi Hiruzen could clearly see Namikaze Minato's figure flashing from one place to another. But as the frequency of Namikaze Minato's flashing became faster, 3 Namikaze Minato appeared in the room at the same time. At this moment, Sarutobi Hiruzen was still unclear about what Namikaze Minato wanted to express. "So that's it, Yu teleported back and forth in 3 places at a speed invisible to the naked eye, thus making all 3 of them the real body and the afterimage. Yes, Yu is really a genius. Not only did he develop the instant technique to ultimate, but he also came up with the use of the instant technique. Namikaze Minato stopped, flashing, he walked over and praised with admiration. In the morning, Yu used his time and space ability in conjunction with the detonating talisman to kill Kakashi and the other 3 instantly. He already felt that Yu was a genius enough. He didn't expect to see Yu create such a unique trick in the afternoon. This made Namikaze Minato, a recognized genius in Konoha, feel amazing. If Yu heard Namikaze Minato's praise at this time, he would definitely retort, "I didn't, I'm not, don't talk nonsense. You quite appreciate Yu." Sarutobi Hiruzen heard the appreciation in Namikaze Minato's tone and said immediately, "I really admire him. In the class battle in the morning, he defeated Kakashi, Obito and Lin in an instant." Namikaze Minato said honestly. Defeat Kakashi in an instant? Sarutobi Hiruzen was a little surprised. After all, Sarutobi Hiruzen, the Hokage, clearly remembers that Kakashi is the well-deserved number 1 this time. "Yes, didn't I send the information about the morning competition to your office? Didn't you read it?" Namikaze Minato asked with a smile on his face. "Ahem, aren't I busy? There are always various things on hand," Sarutobi Hiruzen explained with an embarrassed dry cough. "Okay, let me give you a brief introduction. Yu has awakened the blood inheritance limit of time and space. It is with this ability that he sent the detonating talisman to the Kakashi 3 people through the air, and he was not among the Kakashi 3 people. Set the spatial coordinates on your body in advance." Hearing Namikaze Minato's words, Sarutobi Hiruzen instantly calmed down the expression on his face and returned to Hokage state. Although he had not seen Yu use his abilities with his own eyes, just by listening to Namikaze Minato's dictation, he could already imagine how powerful Yu's blood inheritance limit was. If Yu wants to kill someone, he only needs to send a few detonating charms from a distance. The other party had no time to take precautions. Of course, talking about efficacy regardless of dosage is a hoax. He still didn't know how far Yu's ability could send the detonating talisman. If the detonating talisman can be sent to others from thousands of meters away, then this blood inheritance limit can already be described as terrifying. A proper strategic weapon can easily change the direction of a war. At this moment, Sarutobi Hiruzen, the 3rd Hokage of Konoha Village, thought of many things. He planned to take a closer look at Yu's information after he returned. Accompanied by Namikaze Minato, Sarutobi Hiruzen watched all the games in the 3rd game of the Chunin exam. In addition to Yu, Kakashi, Might Guy, Sarutobi Asuma and other candidates also performed very well in the competition. Afterwards, Sarutobi Hiruzen left the 44th Proving Ground and returned to the Hokage office in Konoha Village. He immediately checked the information on the 2nd session of the Chunin exam that Namikaze Minato sent in the morning. Focus on the scene between Class Yohan and Class Kakashi. After seeing that Yu really waved the detonating talisman in his hand and sent it to the 3 Kakashi people through the air, he fell silent and let the pipe in his mouth burn quietly. Although we still don't know how wide Yu's teleportation range is. But it was just Yu's 2 performances in this Chunin exam. It is enough to show that this is a genius. Just when Sarutobi Hiruzen was thinking about how to arrange Yu next, there was a knock on the door. Boom. Enter. Following Sarutobi Hiruzen's order, a masked Anbu member walked in, knelt down on one knee and said, "Master Hokage, Master Danzo is here." Hearing the name Danzo, Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly felt a pain in his head. Every time Danzo comes to him, it's bound to be up to no good. Now Danzo comes over and I don't know what the fuss is about. But he had to see Danzo again. "Invite him in." Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed and then said, "Yes." After saying that, the figure of the Anbu member turned into an afterimage and disappeared. Soon, the sound of footsteps was heard outside the room. Shimura Danzo, wearing a gauze scarf on his head, walked straight into Hokage's office without knocking on the door. "Hiruzen, it is said that in today's Chunin exam, a suspected blood successor of the time and space type appeared." As soon as Shimura Danzo said these words, Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart sank. Obviously, Shimura Danzo came to rob someone. Sure enough, after Sarutobi Hiruzen admitted this, Shimura Danzo asked directly, "You don't need to set spatial coordinates in advance and can directly teleport through space. What does this ability mean, Hiruzen? You should know. We really need such talents." Represents what? Represents a born assassin. Indeed, with Yi Yu's ability, if he enters the route, he will definitely be able to carry out various assassination missions efficiently. But Sarutobi Hiruzen also wants such talent. He wanted to place Yi Yu under his direct command. "Danzo, Yi Yu's ability is indeed very suitable for your side, but I haven't investigated clearly what the limit of his ability is. If his teleportation distance exceeds 1000 meters, Yi Yu will be more suitable to stay on the bright side, thereby shocking others." Before Sarutobi Hiruzen finished speaking, Shimura Danzo interrupted very forcefully. "Hiruzen, don't be too naive. Yi Yu is not the first generation. Only by reaching the level of the first generation can it be possible to shock several other villages." Sarutobi Hiruzen was speechless. When first Hokage Senju Hashirama was still alive, the 5 great kingdoms were in peace. After the death of first Hokage Senju Hashirama, the turmoil in the ninja world began. Yi Yu's time and space blood inheritance limit is indeed strong. But if it is not as strong as first Hokage, its effect on other villages will be very limited. Is second Hokage strong enough? The Gold and Silver brothers of Cloud Shinobi do what they say without any hesitation. Of course, Yi Yu didn't know that because of his performance in the Chunin exam today, 2 top leaders of Konoha were having a dispute in the Hokage office. After celebrating the successful conclusion of the Chunin exam with Might Guy, Shiranui Genma and others at the same time, he returned to his residence alone. But before he returned to his home, he sensed a strange chakra hidden near his home. This chakra gave Yi Yu a strange feeling. He had only felt this feeling among the Anbu members of Konoha. "Who?" Yi Yu stopped and said coldly to a dark place ahead. Soon, a ninja wearing a black hood and a white mask slowly walked out from the dark place. As expected of the first person in this Chunin exam, he discovered me so far away. Sure enough, he is from Anbu. Yi Yu ignored the compliment and said, "People from Anbu, what do you want from me?" "Master Danzo, please come over." Danzo, upon hearing this name, Yi Yu frowned slightly. What does Danzo want from me? Could it be that Danzo knew about my deal with Orochimaru? After Yi Yu secretly thought about Danzo's intention of looking for him, he followed the Anbu member. Yi Yu originally thought that Anbu's people would take him to Anbu's headquarters to meet Danzo. Unexpectedly, Anbu's people took him to the Hokage office. Yi Yu has been visiting this place frequently since she graduated. However, they all came to accept the mission together with Might Guy, Shiranui Genma, and their Jonin leader Akamaiki Dantu. He walked in with ease. Soon, I saw Sarutobi Hiruzen sitting in the Hokage seat, and Shimura Danzo standing by the window. "Master Hokage, Master Danzo, bring them to Yi Yu." The Anbu member came to Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo and bowed, and then respectfully walked to stand next to Shimura Danzo. Obviously, he is Shimura Danzo's man. At this time, Yi Yu still didn't know that it was not Danzo who was looking for him, but Danzo and third Hokage looking for him together. "Third generation, do you have any mission?" Yi Yu asked Sarutobi Hiruzen in Hokage's position. Sarutobi Hiruzen did not answer Yohane's question, but said something that surprised Yohane. "Yohane, in the name of third Hokage, I appoint you as the Jonin of Konoha village." As soon as Sarutobi Hiruzen said these words, Yi Yu was stunned. Suddenly, the entire Hokage office was in a state of shock. If it were an ordinary Konoha genin, he would be very happy to hear what Sarutobi Hiruzen said. Jonin, that is a symbol of strength. But Yohane is no ordinary Konoha genin. He clearly remembered that a similar situation occurred in the original drama. After the Fourth Ninja War, 6th Hokage Hatake Kakashi said the exact same words to Uzumaki Naruto. But before Uzumaki Naruto had time to be happy, Kakashi's next sentence made Uzumaki Naruto jump up and down. Kakashi asked Uzumaki Naruto to study. The current situation is so similar to that of Uzumaki Naruto. In Yi Yu's view, Sarutobi Hiruzen's words must have a twist. It's just that Yi Yu looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen for a long time, but the other party didn't say the word, but, and his expression was very serious, not like he was joking. At this moment, Yi Yu's heart was shaken. Do you really want me to be a Jonin? Yi Yu also glanced at Danzo and the Anbu member. Danzo still had a dead face with no expression on his face, while the Anbu member's face was covered by a mask and nothing could be seen at all. Third generation, I just took the Chunin exam and the results haven't come out yet. You want me to be a Jonin? Yi Yu, I have seen your performance in the Chunin exam. With your excellence, you are already qualified to be a Jonin. However, the official appointment will have to wait until the results of the Chunin exam are announced. At that time, you will be appointed as a Jonin as a Chunin. Quote. Sarutobi Hiruzen explained. When he used space movement on the Kakashi trio in the Chunin exam, Yi Yu had already expected that he would be noticed by Konoha. After all, the ability of space movement is too powerful in this era when the first generation is dead and Six Paths has not yet appeared. It's strange that Yi Yu won't be noticed. What Yi Yu didn't expect was that he had just shown some strength in the morning and became a Jonin in the evening. And it's Genin Rising Jonin. Is this reasonable? Uzumaki Naruto said. This is very reasonable, my Genin will be directly promoted to Hokage. Is this just a Jonin? If a Chunin is promoted to a Jonin, there are no Jonin exams or Jonin trials. Yi Yu asked the doubts in the minds of the vast number of time travelers. In the original drama, only the promotion methods from Ninja Apprentice to Genin and Genin to Chunin were mentioned. However, how Chunin was promoted to Jonin was not mentioned. Uzumaki Naruto returned from training, and Hyuga Neji suddenly became Jonin. Test. No need. Anointing you as Jonin is a unanimous decision between me and other high-ranking officials in Konoha. Having said this, Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced at Shimura Danzo aside. Obviously, the other top brass of Konoha he was talking about was Shimura Danzo. After listening to Sarutobi Hiruzen's words, Yi Yu understood. Chunin's promotion to Jonin does not require any examination or trial, and is directly appointed by the Hokage. In Konoha, the Hokage is the authority. The authority names you Jonin, and you are Jonin. Seeing that Yi Yu didn't ask any more questions, Sarutobi Hiruzen immediately revealed another reason why he came to Yi Yu. Yi Yu, after becoming Jonin, you will hold some important positions in the village. After our agreement, now there are two places to go. Enter the Hokage and go directly to Anbu to become my guard. The other is. Having said this, Sarutobi Hiruzen paused, set his eyes on Shimura Danzo, and continued, join the route. Over the years, Danzo's control over Konoha Anbu has grown deeper and deeper. Sarutobi Hiruzen naturally knows it. Although he didn't mention this to Danzo, he still felt a little unhappy. Today, he was still thinking about how to arrange the genius Yi Yu. Danzo came and grabbed people. This made him even more dissatisfied. This time, Sarutobi Hiruzen will not give in. Yi Yu's ability is too special. But Danzo will never give up. In the end, he came up with a solution that was not a solution and let Yi Yu himself make the choice. Good guy. No wonder Danzo is in Hokage's office, it turns out he's here to rob someone. After listening to Sarutobi Hiruzen's words, Yi Yu fell into deep thought. Danzo's roots, he definitely won't join. After all, Danzo would plant a seal on each of his subordinates, and Yi Yu would not accept such a thing. As for Anbu, who is directly under the Hokage, Yi Yu has no interest. He wanted to ask, is there any other choice? But thinking about it, there are only a few places where Jonin can go in Konoha. Whether it is to serve as an instructor, to serve as a Jonin, or to protect the daimyo of the Land of Fire, it is not easy. He also needs to spend a lot of time developing proficiency in various abilities. Relatively speaking, Hokage's guards have more free time. There will only be quests when the Hokage is traveling. Under the watchful eyes of Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo, Yohane finally made a choice. I join Hokage's direct Anbu. As soon as Yi Yu said this, Sarutobi Hiruzen took a heavy drag on his pipe. Shimura Danzo looked at Yi Yu deeply, and then left the Hokage office without saying a word. Okay, when the Chunin test results come out, you can go and report. Sarutobi Hiruzen said to Yi Yu. After Yi Yu walked out of Hokage's office, he suddenly remembered something. Kakashi, 12 years old Jonin, joined Anbu. Uchiha Itachi, 13 years old Jonin, joined Anbu. I, Jonin, 10 years old, am also about to join Anbu. 5 days later, the first ball space, Kaguya Palace. Johann is sitting cross-legged under the huge statue of Kaguya, with the grass pheasant sword placed on his legs. Rise. Yi Yu habitually said the word, Chi, then put his fingers together with the sword and pointed forward. The grass pheasant sword on his legs flew out with a whoosh, very fast. When the Kusanagi sword was about to fly out of the gate of Kaguya Palace, Yi Yu's fingers together circled in the void again. At the same time, the Kusanagi sword flying towards the outside of Kaguya's palace turned quickly. As Yi Yu's finger sword continued to command in the void, the grass pheasant sword in the sky suddenly went up and down, left and right, sometimes circling, and sometimes advancing rapidly. During this process, in Yi Yu's mind, the system's mechanical beep sounded continuously. Ding, congratulations, host manipulating pheasant sword proficiency +1. Ding, congratulations, host manipulating pheasant sword proficiency +1. Comma. Not long after, the system notification tone in Yi Yu's mind suddenly changed. Ding, congratulations, the host's grass pheasant sword controlling proficiency has reached the full level. Grass pheasant sword controlling is automatically upgraded to sword controlling technique. The moment the system prompt sounded, above the sky, the grass pheasant sword that was thrusting forward surged in speed. Like a white rainbow, it instantly penetrated the wall of Kaguya's palace and flew out. The art of sword control is finally accomplished. Yi Yu ignored the flying pheasant sword and was immediately overjoyed. His eyes immediately fell on the system panel. Only the panel displays. Controlling pheasant sword, full level right pointing arrow, sword controlling technique, progress 1%. In the past few days, Yi Yu ignored what happened in Konoha village. Apart from sleeping, eating, and practicing chakra cultivation method, he spent the rest of his time in this space of the first ball, sword controlling technique. Fortunately, his chakra amount is steadily increasing at a rate of 1/7 of the initial amount every day. Now, his chakra amount is more than twice what it was before the chakra cultivation method came out. In 3 days, his chakra amount will be 3 times the initial amount. It was precisely with sufficient chakra that Yi Yu was able to reach the full level of proficiency in controlling the pheasant sword in just over 5 days, and successfully acquired the sword controlling skill he had longed for. Call out. Yi Yu turned off the system panel with satisfaction, and then activated the Flying Thunder God technique on the grass pheasant sword. The next moment, Yi Yu's figure disappeared from Kaguya's palace and appeared where the Kusanagi sword was. However, the grass pheasant sword is flying in the sky at high speed. As soon as Yi Yu appeared, the grass pheasant sword had already flown dozens of meters away. Alas, I can't fly with a sword yet, although Yi Yu really wanted to stand on the flying sword and fly. But unfortunately, the proficiency in sword controlling is not enough. As long as he stands on it, he will definitely fall from the sky with his sword. However, according to Yi Yu's estimation, even if he improves his proficiency in sword controlling technique, it will still be difficult for him to truly control the sword and ride the wind, and be free in the world. Because as soon as he stands on the Kusanagi sword, his sword control skills will become man control plus sword control. The weight of a person is dozens of times that of a sword. The amount of chakra consumed will also skyrocket. Even if Yi Yu's chakra amount were increased tenfold, he still wouldn't be able to fly with the sword for a long time. I think I still need to go to Iwagakure and get the light heavy rock technique. With the light heavy rock technique, he can drastically reduce his own weight. In this way, he can truly ride the sword and ride the wind, and be free between heaven and earth. While Yi Yu was thinking, his body was falling downwards in a free fall. However, his hands were not idle. Soon, a clay bird was pinched out by him. Boom! The huge clay bird rushed out of the white smoke and came under Yi Yu, catching Yi Yu's body firmly. Yi Yu stood on the clay bird, pointed his finger into a sword, and waved his arm. The rapidly flying pheasant sword flew back from a distance with a swish, and stopped steadily in front of Yi Yu. After this simple operation, Yi Yu immediately discovered that the upgraded sword controlling technique not only greatly improved the flying speed, but also made it easier to control. If we talk about the previous manipulation of pheasant sword, Yi Yu was doing a difficult acrobatics, which not only consumed chakra, but also required concentration and careful control. As for the current sword controlling skill, Yi Yu is just waving his hand. The grass pheasant sword is like his real arm. It can fly as much as it wants and hit wherever it wants. It doesn't feel sluggish at all, just like the arm's command. Go! Yi Yu pointed his sword toward a mound below, and the grass pheasant sword in front of him instantly turned into a white rainbow and hit the mound. The mound was like tofu, being cut open in an instant. Immediately afterwards, Yi Yu pointed his sword at another mound. Boo hoo hoo hoo. Suddenly, sword light flew and rocks splashed everywhere. Rocks are dead objects. Attacking dead objects cannot reflect the power of my sword control skills at all. Yi Yu stopped moving, his mind spinning. Soon, he had a new idea. Yi Yu controlled the clay bird to land and formed a seal with his hands. Multiple shadow clone technique. The next second, dozens of shadow clones appeared out of thin air. Yi Yu's body quickly pinched out an equal number of clay birds. Soon, dozens of huge clay birds were hovering in the sky of the beginning space. On the back of each clay bird stands a shadow clone of Yi Yu. And Yi Yu's true body was mixed in. However, unlike shadow clone, there is a flying sword suspended in front of Yi Yu's body. Yes, he wants to use shadow clone to practice his sword skills. Disperse. Following Yi Yu's order, a dozen shadow clone controlled their own clay birds and flew away quickly. After the shadow clones moved away for a certain distance, Yi Yu's finger sword pointed at a combination of shadow clone plus clay bird directly in front of him. Go! The grass pheasant sword immediately turned into a white rainbow and flew over quickly. Why did you kill me first? After the shadow clone noticed the danger behind him, his expression changed and he hurriedly controlled the clay bird under him to make an emergency escape. Swish! The clay bird narrowly avoided the flying sword. But before this shadow clone had time to breathe a sigh of relief. The flying sword that had just flown past, under the control of Yi Yu's body, turned quickly and came back towards shadow clone. And the clay bird, under the control of shadow clone, kept dodging up and down, left and right. But soon, he was unable to dodge and was penetrated by a white rainbow. Boom! The shadow clone on the back of the clay bird immediately turned into a white smoke and dissipated. And the clay bird also exploded. Yi Yu, who was standing on the back of the clay bird, glanced at the brilliant Hanabi and turned away. At this moment, the sun, the explosion, and Yi Yu's back formed a gorgeous picture. Yi Yu also blew his finger sword very coolly. Perfect. Ding! Congratulations! Host sword controlling skill proficiency +1. Ding! Congratulations! Host sword controlling skill proficiency +1. During the time when Yi Yu kept using the grass pheasant sword to chase shadow clone, his proficiency in sword controlling continued to increase. As his proficiency in sword controlling technique increased, his drafted pheasant sword became more silky smooth. I'll be here today. It's almost time to report to Anbu. After Yi Yu killed the last giant clay bird plus shadow clone, he took back the pheasant sword. 5 days ago, he was appointed Jonin of Konoha village by 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. When this incident spread, it caused quite a stir among the ninjas of Yi Yu's generation. 10-year-old Jonin. And he just took the Chunin exam and became a Jonin. Too rare. The two teammates, Might Guy and Shiranui Genma, were both surprised and happy after knowing this. Today is the day when the results of the Chunin exam will be released, and it is also the day when Yi Yu is officially promoted to Jonin. When Yi Yu just returned to his home from the origin space, he sensed 2 familiar chakras in the nearby woods. These 2 chakras are hidden behind 2 big trees. Looking around, you can clearly see a green trouser leg exposed from the corner of one of the big trees. Anyone who is familiar with Might Guy can deduce from the exposed trousers that the person behind the big tree is Might Guy. Behind the other big tree is naturally Shiranui Genma. What are these 2 guys doing? When Yi Yu saw the exposed green trousers, he felt funny and walked over immediately. Coming, Guy, get ready. Today is the day that Yi Yu is promoted to Jonin. As Yi Yu's teammates, Shiranui Genma and Might Guy naturally planned to congratulate him. Might Guy went to Shiranui Genma to discuss. But they had never experienced anything like this before, so they didn't know how to congratulate. Finally, under the advice of other friends, I prepared to give Yi Yu a small surprise. So, they hid on Yi Yu's only way home early in the morning, waiting for Yi Yu to surprise him when he passed by. Seeing Yi Yu coming over, Shiranui Genma lowered his voice and greeted Might Guy behind a big tree opposite. Just when Might Guy and Shiranui Genma were about to jump out and give Yi Yu a surprise, Yi Yu's voice suddenly rang. Guy, your pant legs are exposed. As soon as Yi Yu said these words, Might Guy's expression suddenly froze. On the opposite side, Shiranui Genma showed a speechless expression. Immediately, the two of them had no choice but to walk out angrily. What are you two doing hiding here so early in the morning? Yi Yu looked at Shiranui Genma and Might Guy and asked. Give. Might Guy has never given anyone a gift before. He very shyly handed a third Hokage character model to Yi Yu. I know you like this, so I gave it to you as a gift for your promotion to Jonin. Looking at the third Hokage figure handed over by Might Guy, Yi Yu's expression suddenly froze. When did I say I like this? But soon, Yi Yu remembered that he used clay to shape various figures in front of Might Guy. At this moment, Yi Yu was very speechless. I did it to improve my proficiency in making figurines. What does this have to do with liking? Yi Yu knew that Might Guy had misunderstood something, but he didn't intend to explain. This is my gift. Shiranui Genma handed 1,000 needles to Yi Yu. Seeing the strange expression on Yi Yu's face, Shiranui Genma hurriedly explained. This Senbon needle is from my collection, not the one I often hold in my mouth. Yi Yu, congratulations on your promotion to Jonin. After Yi Yu accepted the figure and Senbon needle, Might Guy and Shiranui Genma congratulated sincerely. Thank you. Yi Yu thanked him and then asked, the results of the Chunin exam should have been out. How are you doing? I haven't gone to see it yet. Xuanjian and I are squatting here early in the morning, preparing to go and see it with you. Might Guy showed his white teeth and said with a smile. I'm going to report to Anbu. What, you're going to Anbu, so we won't be able to do missions together soon. Hearing Yi Yu's words, Might Guy's tone was a little excited. After all, they are only 10 years old now. We have been together for so long again. Now Yi Yu suddenly wants to leave their team. With Might Guy's character, he is naturally very reluctant to leave. Who says we can't do tasks together? Some tasks require the cooperation of multiple departments. We can still do tasks together. Besides, we are all in the same village. If you are fine, you can always come to me. Yi Yu patted Might Guy on the shoulder and said. Might Guy nodded, but his mood was still a little low. I thought this matter would just go away. Halfway through the walk, Might Guy suddenly said, are you still accepting people, Anbu? Seeing Might Guy's serious attitude, Yi Yu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. With your personality, even Danzo wouldn't accept you. He clearly remembered that in the original drama, after Kakashi joined Anbu, Might Guy couldn't bear to see Kakashi often showing a lonely look, so he took the initiative to go to Danzo and asked Danzo to accept him into Anbu. Danzo's heart at that time was probably a mess. Yi Yu knew that even if he persuaded Might Guy now, Might Guy would definitely go to the third Hokage. Therefore, he did not persuade, but just said, I don't know, you can ask third generation. Okay, I'll be there in a moment. Shiranui Genma on the side heard the conversation between Might Guy and Yi Yu, and he was shocked. That's a dare. Hokage building. Today is the day when the results of the Chunin exam are released. Most of the candidates who took the Chunin exam have come here to check whether they have successfully been promoted to Chunin. Great, from today on, I am a qualified Chunin. A ninja threw the Konoha Chunin costumes that had just been distributed into the air and said with excitement. Guy, congratulations on becoming a Chunin. Shiranui Genma saw his and Might Guy's names on the Chunin list. A rare smile appeared on his face, and he immediately congratulated Might Guy on the side. Genma, congratulations on becoming a Chunin too. Might Guy also congratulated the other party with joy, but when he thought that Yi Yu would leave their team from today, the smile on his face suddenly dimmed a bit. Yuhi Kurenai among the crowd, after seeing Might Guy and Shiranui Genma, her eyes couldn't help but look around them. After she didn't see the figure she wanted to see, her beautiful ruby eyes showed a faint fluctuation. She hesitated for a moment, then walked towards where Might Guy and Shiranui Genma were. As she walked over, she secretly hid an exquisitely decorated box behind her. Guy, Xuanjian, didn't Yi Yu come with you? Yuhi Kurenai stood between Might Guy and Shiranui Genma and asked. Yi Yu has reported to Anbu. Might Guy shook his head and replied. Anbu, Kurenai Yuhi was stunned at first, but soon thought that now that Yohane was a Jonin, it seemed very normal for Lord Third Hokage to arrange for Yohane to be admitted to Anbu. But thinking that the gift she had carefully prepared was not delivered to Yiyu's hands, a trace of disappointment appeared on Yuhi Hong's face. She's not just here to congratulate Yohane on her successful promotion to Jonin. I still came to thank Yiyu. Ever since Yiyu entered her body that day, her range of perception had obviously expanded outward by nearly 1 meter. However, after Yiyu exited her body, her perception range increased from 1 meter to about 0.3 meters. According to what Yiyu said at the time, Yiyu entered her body and expanded her range of perception. What happened after that also proved that what Yiyu said was true. Through repeated practice, she fixed the range of perception to be expanded by 1 meter. But no matter how much she practiced later, she couldn't increase her perception range by another inch. If you are looking for Yiyu, you should still be able to find Yiyu if you go to the street now. We were separated on the street just now. Shiranui Genma, who was holding 1,000 needles in his mouth, noticed Yuhi Kurenai's hand hidden behind his back, and accidentally glanced at a corner of the packaging box. Naturally, he knew that Yuhi Kurenai was preparing to give a gift to Yiyu, so he gave a reminder. Hearing Shiranui Genma's words, Yuhi Kurenai's ruby-like eyes instantly lit up. Without any hesitation, she immediately activated her perception. Sure enough, not far away, she sensed the extremely familiar chakra. But what makes Yuhi Kurenai strange is, Yiyu's chakra amount actually increased nearly 3 times compared to the time when she entered her body. Although she felt strange, she was in a hurry to chase Yiyu and didn't think too much about it. She thanked Shiranui Genma and left. Yiyu. When Yiyu arrived at Anbu's headquarters, a familiar female voice suddenly came from behind him. Turning around, he saw Yuhi Kurenai, wearing a red and white one-piece skirt, standing at the end of the street waving to him. Hong, why are you here? Seeing Yuhi Hong coming, Yiyu turned to face Yuhi Hong and asked. Here, congratulations on your promotion to Jonin. Yuri Hong walked over and handed the prepared gift box to Yiyu generously. At the same time, she added strength in her heart, thank you for improving my perception ability. Thanks. Yiyu took the gift from Yuhi Hong and said with a smile. Well, after you enter Anbu, can we still discuss the matter of sentience together? Yuri's pretty face turned slightly red, her little hands couldn't help playing with her slightly curly hair, and her ruby-like eyes looked at Yiyu uneasily. Last time, when Yiyu left, she originally wanted to ask Yiyu if he would come back tomorrow. But she didn't ask at the time. After that day, Yiyu never went to her place again. This time, Yuhi Hong asked. Of course, you can come to me. Hearing Yiyu's answer, Yuri Hong was overjoyed, and then waved and left. After Yuhi Hong left, Yiyu stepped into the Anbu building. When Yiyu came out of the Anbu building again, his clothes had changed. I saw Yiyu wearing Anbu's off-shoulder clothing, Anbu's exclusive cat face mask on her face, and carrying a short sword behind her back. The whole person's temperament has undergone earth-shaking changes. After receiving Konoha Anbu's suit, Yiyu returned to the ball space again, preparing to continue his proficiency in sword-controlling technique. But when he used multiple shadow clone technique, one of the system prompts in his mind was a little unusual. Ding! Congratulations! Host multiple shadow clone technique proficiency +1. Ding! Congratulations on the host's multiple shadow clone technique proficiency reaching the full level. Multiple shadow clone technique automatically upgraded to split body. Hearing this unusual system prompt, Yiyu was stunned at first, and then overjoyed. He has never been concerned about his proficiency in the multiple shadow clone technique. Every time, multiple shadow clone technique is used to accelerate the proficiency of other abilities, and by the way, the proficiency is improved. What Yiyu didn't expect was that the proficiency of multiple shadow clone technique reached the full level without even realizing it. This gave Yiyu a sense of unintentional pleasure. The split body, why does it feel a bit like White Zetsu's ability? Yiyu looked at that split body on the system panel and complained in his mind. Soon, he knew that his split body was somewhat similar to White Zetsu's split, but also very different. The same thing is that Yiyu's split body will always exist as long as it is not fatally injured. The difference is that the splinter body will act like a shadow clone. Death does not leave a body behind, it disappears in a puff of white smoke. At the same time, the split bodies are under the absolute control of Yiyu's body, and Yiyu can make all split bodies disappear in a single thought. The split body will not leave a corpse when it dies, and it is very good to be absolutely controlled by the main body. Yiyu clearly remembered that there was a guy who was cultivating immortality and made a clone. Since he didn't communicate with the clone for a long time, the clone turned into a 25-year-old who wanted to kill the original body and replace it. He didn't want something like this to happen to him. After checking the introduction of split body, Yiyu immediately started to use split without any hesitation. Buzz. With the activation of split, Yiyu's back condensed 4 human-shaped outlines like fluid. The 4 human-shaped silhouettes gradually broke away from Yiyu's body, and finally turned into 4 split bodies that were exactly the same as Yiyu. This scene is exactly the same as when first Hokage Senju Hashirama used the wood-style clone. With the current proficiency of split bodies, is it already the limit to separate 4 split bodies at the same time? Yiyu wanted to split a few more split bodies. But at this time, he could only separate 4 split bodies. As long as the split body is not fatally injured, this characteristic will remain forever. With the disguise of technique, I can sneak into all camps like White Zetsu in the 4th Ninja War. When the system was first activated, many plans appeared in Yiyu's mind. He wants the Byakugan, the Sharingan, the Rinnegan. Wants Sage Mode, Flying Thunder God Technique, Spiritualization Technique. At the same time, he also wanted the powerful blood succession limits and ninjutsu from other major ninja villages. Among these ninjutsu, some of them have been successfully obtained by Yiyu. Some, due to various reasons, have not yet had time to obtain them. Right now, he already has a split body and is pretending to be technique. Some of his plans can also begin. He planned to turn these split bodies into ninjas from other villages, and then enter these villages to learn the ninjutsu of these villages. The 4 split bodies are exactly the 4 great ninja villages, one for each village. Yiyu looked at the 4 split bodies in front of him and said. As soon as he finished speaking, the appearance of the 4 split bodies began to change at a speed visible to the naked eye. Soon, these 4 split bodies became the Sand Shinobi of the Land of Wind, the Mist Shinobi of the Land of Water, the Rock Shinobi of the Land of Earth, and the Cloud Shinobi of the Land of Thunder. These 4 ninjas were all Yiyu had come into contact with in the past 2 months. Some of them are dead, some are not. However, Yiyu did not intend to use the identities of these 4 ninjas. He planned to let these 4 split bodies find new identities after blending into the 4 great ninja villages. After all, he still doesn't know the personalities and habits of these 4 ninjas. Pretending to be a technique can make him look exactly like other people, but even when he perceives a technique, he can't tell the difference. But if you don't know the target's personality and habits, you can easily be exposed. He needs to re-identify targets, and then use the spiritualization technique to search their memories and learn their ninjutsu. Then, completely become this person and replace this person. You first sneak into the 4 major ninja villages, identify the target, and then use the Flying Thunder God technique to bring the target to this ball space. When the time comes, I will use the spiritualization technique to explore their memories and learn their ninjutsu. Note, the target is best to have a simple relationship between the characters, without a lover or wife. Yiyu said to the 4 split bodies. Soon, the 4 split bodies used the Flying Thunder God technique and left the starting ball space. When they appeared again, they were already in the forest outside Konoha village. This was once where Johan imprisoned White Zetsu and traded with Orochimaru. Later, he returned from a mission and came here specially, leaving behind a Flying Thunder God spell. At that time, I considered leaving a Flying Thunder God spell here that might be used in the future. And today, I finally used it. As soon as the 4 split bodies appeared, they created 4 clay birds. Then it flew in 4 different directions. After all, Konoha village is quite far away from the other 4 ninja villages. If there are clay birds on the way, it will go much faster. Although there are clay birds on the way, it still takes some time for the split bodies to reach the 4 great ninja villages. 2 days later, the split body took the lead in arriving at Sunagakur, which is closest to Konoha village. Although Sunagakur is located in a vast desert and surrounded by ringed mountains, it is extremely difficult for ordinary ninjas to sneak into it. But the Yeiyu are not ordinary ninjas. They have space movement and the Flying Thunder God technique. Even this Kagaya's different space, they can easily enter, let alone Sunagakur. Originally, Yeiyu thought that the split body that brought the target back first would be the one that infiltrated Sunagakur. After all, he was the first to reach his destination. But what surprised Yeiyu was that the first one to bring the target back was the split body that infiltrated Kurigakure. Moreover, the target he brought back was actually a member of the Kurigakure Ghost Lamp clan. In the original drama, the Onodin clan is famous even in the entire ninja world. This clan not only produced two brothers, Guidang Manyu and Guidang Shuiyu. There is also Kurigakure's second Mizukage, Kurigakure. Of course, these are not what Yeiyu needs to worry about. At the moment, what Yeiyu is most concerned about is whether the member of the Ghost Lantern clan in front of him has practiced the secret technique of the Ghost Lantern clan, the water transformation technique. Hydration technique can liquefy the body and make it immune to all physical attacks. In the original drama, Suigetsu used his liquefied body to resist Killer Bee's tailed beast bullet. This ability, to a certain extent, is very useful, although it has the side effect of being restrained by lightning. But Yeiyu can upgrade it through liver proficiency. The upgraded hydration technique will most likely become elemental similar to the one in One Piece. Then there will be no side effect of fear of thunder and lightning. Members of the Ghost Lantern clan, this is an unexpected surprise, well done. Standing on the red mound, Yeiyu looked at the dignified ninjas of the Ghost Lantern clan below, and instinctively gave a thumbs up to the split body. However, just as he was grinning, he suppressed the grin. No, I was infected by that guy. Kido no Moon, a member of Kurigakure's Anbu. He had just returned home from his mission today when he was suddenly attacked. A figure appeared behind him out of thin air. Before he could react, he found that the environment around him had changed dramatically. The familiar room disappeared, replaced by endless red land and hills. In addition, on a hill, he saw a kid wearing a Konoha village forehead protector, and a Kurigakure ninja he didn't recognize. You kid from Konoha, where is this place? Guidang Wuyu could see that the two people on the hill were led by Yeiyu, so he directly questioned Yeiyu. Yeiyu didn't answer the other party's question, he put his fingers together with his sword and moved a little closer to the air. Go, call out. The next moment, the grass pheasant sword turned into a white rainbow and swept towards Ghost Dang Wuyu. So fast, Guidang Wuyu was shocked when he saw the sword light coming. In an instant, his body was penetrated by the grass pheasant sword. But Guidang Wuyu did not fall to the ground, did not bleed, and did not even leave any wounds on his body. But at the moment when he was penetrated by the Kusanagi sword, a large amount of water splashed out from his body. Hydration technique. Seeing this scene in front of him, Yeiyu's joy was beyond words. This attack was originally intended to verify whether the guy in front of me had practiced the hydration technique. The result made Yeiyu very satisfied. The opponent has practiced hydration technique. Compared to Yeiyu's joy, Guidang Wuyu was greatly surprised. With just a finger in the air, the sword automatically flew out from his back. What kind of ninjutsu is this? And the speed of that sword is too terrifying. While secretly shocked in his heart, Guidang Wuyu's gaze shifted from the Sao pheasant sword suspended in midair to Yeiyu. At this moment, Guidang Wuyu's eyes revealed strong murderous intent. More importantly, the kid in front of me looks only 10 years old. Another incredible talent has appeared in Konoha village. Genius must be nipped in the cradle. As Kurigakure's Anbu, Kido Musuki is not a man of many words either. Now that he decided to strangle Yeiyu, he didn't hold back at all. The first move is Kurigakure Anbu's signature killing technique, Mist Shinobi plus Assassination. Mist Shinobi technique. As the Mist Shinobi technique was activated, the surrounding space was suddenly enveloped in thick fog. Normal ninjas can't see anything in this thick fog. But Guidang Wuyu, who has received professional training, is at home in this dense fog. He could smell Yeiyu's scent and hear Yeiyu's heartbeat. In just a moment, Guidang Wuyu was able to penetrate Yeiyu's heart. But just when Guidang Wuyu was about to launch a surprise attack, his body suddenly became unable to move. What happened? My body can't move. Gui Deng Wuyu's pupils shrank sharply, and he tried hard to control his body. But no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't move a finger. It was as if this body no longer belonged to him. The water transformation technique of the Ghost Lantern clan is really a good ability, but now, he is mine. Suddenly, such words rang out in Gui Deng Wuyu's mind. This sudden sound made Gui Deng Wuyu's hair stand on end. Immediately afterwards, Gui Deng Wuyu discovered that his hands were raised without his control. Seeing this scene, a terrifying ninjutsu name immediately appeared in Kaiden Wuyu's mind. Spiritualization technique. During the Second Ninja War, Kato Dan relied on the spiritualization technique to kill countless people. For a time, many enemies were frightened by the news. The Second Ninja War had just passed not long ago. How could Gui Deng Wuyu not know the name of Lingua technique? At this moment, his heart seemed to be violently grasped by a demon's hand, causing boundless fear to rise deep in his heart. He knew that he was destined to die, and that his death would be miserable. If we talk about hydration technique, it specializes in physical attacks. The spiritualization technique is specifically designed to restrain physical attacks like his. Because the spiritualization technique targets the soul directly. Tionk. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.